Our next speaker is Fei Fei. She's at Stanford University, and she'll be talking about AI-assisted elderly care for acute infection and chronic disease.
It's really a true honor to be here to share some of our research thinking on how we can help our aging population to cope and combat the COVID-19 pandemic. Our research is still very preliminary. We've spent the last several years looking at how a set of AI technology could help aging seniors to live more independently and cope with chronic disease management. But recently we realized the same technology for longer term care might also be helpful for seniors in this acute pandemic. And this is what I want to share with you today. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge the researchers and partner institutes. Our team is consisted of clinicians and computer scientists working closely together. The one person I want to highlight here today is Alan Luo, a second-year PhD student at the Computer Science Department at Stanford. Everything I'm presenting here is part of his current research. One thing that is most heart-wrenching when we hear the worldwide news about COVID-19 is the human losses and suffering. Here, a son recounted a chilling story of his elderly parents suffering high fevers at home in Italy for 8 days before passing away with coronavirus without proper medical help. Indeed, while we still don't know much about the nature of coronavirus, one thing we're seeing from studies like this is that this virus hits elderly population harder than the younger ones, both in terms of infection rate as well as fatality. The red bars here show drastically increasing fatality rate as the age increases. Exactly why this is so is still subject to further scientific studies, but doctors and researchers are conjecturing several factors that might contribute to this pattern. For example, most seniors have base health conditions that make them more vulnerable. Community living of many seniors enable a faster spread of this highly infectious virus. Seniors also interact with caregivers who tend to be of a younger group and might carry the virus without symptoms. Other reasons may also include challenges of medical triaging or lack of care for the base chronic disease due to the overwhelmed healthcare systems. So one of the key questions all of us want to ask and find solutions for is how we can take care of seniors while keeping them safe. Well, nowhere is safer than home if one doesn't need to be in the hospitals. So how can we help seniors to stay at home, yet help to continuously monitor early symptoms for infection or progressions of mild symptoms, and or even continue to manage their base chronic health issues? A potential opportunity is to use AI-powered smart sensor technology. The idea here is that sensors installed at home can help families and clinicians keep track of the health conditions of the elderly in versatile and scalable fashion. Here's how the system works in a 4-step overview. First is collecting data by putting sensors at home. This table shows various kinds of smart sensors. They complement each other in modality and the kind of data they capture, but also in sensitivity with respect to privacy. Camera sensors carry a lot of detailed information of a person's activity, but is least compatible with most people's privacy needs. Other sensors include depth sensors on the second column, thermal sensors on the third column, as well as wearable sensors in the last column. Since we're interested in understanding more nuanced and complex human behaviors relevant to clinical outcomes, our research focuses on the first 3 types of sensors. Now, in the second step, sensor data are transferred to some kind of secure central servers for machine learning and training. We need to address security issues in the transfer itself, but I won't elaborate here due to time limit. Then AI models are trained to recognize clinically relevant patterns, including respiratory, sleep, dietary, and other behaviors. These AI models can be then installed on the edge devices themselves so that in deployment time, data no longer has to leave the house. Last step is to set up a way to communicate the smart sensors detection results to caretakers and families. This is a quick summary of how this technology works. Now, let's look at a few examples of the kind of useful information we could glean from these sensors. We show 4 examples: infection detection, mobility analysis, sleep pattern analysis, and dietary pattern analysis. Here's some sample images revealing fever detection or respiratory pattern recognition using thermal sensors. Such information is useful for early detection of infection. Here is an example of human movement understanding, an important clinical indicator for many relevant illnesses, and something doctors would like to keep a close eye on. Using depth sensors that protect privacy, our preliminary work show high accuracy to discern different types of movements. Another example is sleep pattern analysis. Last but not the least, smart sensor technology could also reveal important information on dietary patterns from eating to fluid intake to pill consumption. One of the biggest pain points in our medical system in times like COVID-19 is the lack of caretakers due to a huge increase of healthcare system overload. These are just 4 concrete examples of how these sensors can help lending a hand to our clinicians in helping and protecting our elder population. They're not meant to do diagnostic decision making or to replace clinicians, but they can be there continuously to keep an eye on our aging population living at home and help to raise timely alerts to clinicians and families. Of course, for every step of this research
1 minute.
and the deployment of this technology, we have to be very thoughtful of the ethical, privacy, and security challenges. We won't elaborate these points here, but we want to put them front and center as part of the ongoing research. So, in summary, AI powered smart sensor technology can provide an opportunity to help keeping our elderly population at home while helping our families and clinicians to continue to monitoring their health conditions. This is not only critical to help maintaining social distance of this more vulnerable population, but also helps to mitigate hospital overload. Beyond COVID-19, the same technology can help seniors to live at home with continuous assistance, can participate to help manage chronic conditions, and can also be useful for physical rehabilitations. Thank you very much.